Shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, want to kick this thing off, giving all praises, glory, and honor to the Most High God Yahweh, by Shema Mashiach, Kwam Yahweh Shai. Want to give a strong shalom to all the brothers and sisters doing everything they can to stay grounded in His walk, staying 10 toes down, praying, fasting, studying, keeping feast days, everything they can to make their calling and election sure. We'll do a short video today, man, just telling our people, man, that they need some exhortation. They need to keep their foot on the gas, man, because Satan is always trying to keep his foot on our necks, man. Trying to keep his foot on our back. He trying to tread us down, man. But we trying to let our people know that you can overcome Satan, man. I'm going to start this thing off with Philippians chapter 3. I'm going to start at 13. Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing, Salakia, I do, forgetting those things which are behind. You got to forget them things of the past, man. You can't be dwelling on the old man. You can't always let the old man just overcome you and try to get into the life of the new man you are, man. You can't have that old man trying to be the one that's raising your family now. You can't have that old man, the one that's trying to take part of your career or your business. You can't have that old man being the one that's at camp. He gonna try to get in there and overtake the thing, man. Try to overthrow it. That's why you got to forget those things that are behind. Reading on and reaching forth unto those things which are before. So we got to reach toward those things that were before, the things of the old time, the things that we saw in the prophets, the things that we've seen in the writings, because everything that was written aforetime was written for our learning. So like it, verse 14, I press toward the mark, the prize of the high calling of Yahweh in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. You got to press toward that mark, man. That's keeping your foot on the gas, man. You got to continue to press toward the mark. It's like a marathon or any kind of race, man. When you're in a race, you gotta keep going. You can't be sitting there, jogging along, but you thinking about damn Jack in the Box. You thinking about, what you're gonna be doing afterwards. Thinking about linking up with people. You got to keep your mind on the mark. You gotta keep pressing toward the mark. You got to keep your mind on that goal that you got at hand, and that's to finish that race. And we got to repent and endure to finish our race now, man. Verse 15. Let us therefore, as many as be perfect, be thus minded. And if anything ye be otherwise minded, Yahweh shall reveal even this unto you. He says, so if you continue to be wise in the mind, continue to meditate on these laws, statutes, and commandments, and on these precepts on a daily basis, the Most High God gonna provide those things for you, man. He gonna be able to build you up to help you to succeed, to help you to endure, to help you to keep going, to keep pressing toward that mark. Nevertheless, whereto we have already attained, let us walk by the same rule, let us mind the same thing. And we have to be minded of that same thing. We have to be minded that we got to stay girded in this walk, that we have to stay grounded, that we have to keep going, keep trying. We got to endure and keep our foot on the pedal, man. Because time is almost up. Now's not the time to fall short, to give in to the spiritual demon Satan. So I'm going to go to one of my favorite books, go to Proverbs. I'm going to go to chapter 29 and verse 25. The fear of man bringeth a snare, but whoso putteth his trust in the Lord shall be safe. So you always going to run across these snares. You always going to hit these stumbling blocks. It's like when you playing damn Monopoly, and you gotta go past the free parking and you end up in jail. You're gonna go through these things, man. You gotta go through the trials. But that's to what? To continue to level up in the game, to go further, to get to the end, to endure until the last time, man. Cause this race ain't to the swift, man. It's not about who's the fastest. It's not about who's been in it the longest. It's about endurance. Lamentations chapter 3 and verse 47. Said, fear and the snare is come upon us, desolation and destruction. So when you let Satan overcome you, when you give in to them snares, it's destruction. It's woe, man. It's death and destruction to our people. Say you get caught up in that snare, man, you give in. I say you let Satan just put his arm around you and be like, oh, so this the kind of stuff you into, huh? This what you like? This what you want? This what you desire? The Lord gonna get you over to the valley of affections, and then you destroy it, man. That's what this whole book of Lamentations is going into. It's going into woes, man. It's going to our people in a time of lamenting, man. Of going through it. Our people have been going through it for a long time. But we have to continue to endure this thing, man. So you got to keep pressing toward the mark. And that's why I said these things that are written aforetime was read for our learning. We got examples in the scriptures on how to get out of these jams, man. To get up out of these traps, to get up out of these snares, get over these stumbling blocks, man. To jump that hurdle. Book of Jonah, chapter 1. I'm going to start at 2. Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me. So the Most High was telling Jonah that he had to go to the city and go shake the hand, man. To go tell these people that they going the hell off, because all the wickedness was before the Lord, as in all the times past, man. It's nothing new under the sun. Verse 3, but Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord, and went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof, and went down into it, to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of the Lord. So Jonah thought that he could get away. He was like, oh, damn, man. That's how Jake is nowadays, man. You can compare this to real life right now. That's how Jake is. They know what they need to be doing. They know that they got a task at hand. But they be like, hey, man, I'm going to just stay out the way. I'm going to be in my own lane, as Jake like to call it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna just be over here. I'm be in the cut. And it ain't work like that, man. Said the Lord requires something of us. Verse 4, but the Lord sent out a great wind into the sea, and there was a mighty tempest in the sea, so that the ship was like to be broken. So the Lord sent a damn storm out there in the middle of the wind. So while you out in the ship, they probably got out quite a bit, where you get to the point, if you ever been on like a cruise, or even if you ever been on a boat and you just go for so long, you don't start to see land for real, you're probably like, cool, I escaped. That's that mind state that Jonah had. He was like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm cool. I should be out here. I'm away from all that wickedness. Ain't nothing out here. You know what I'm saying? There's only a couple people on this boat. Like, I ain't got to see that stuff that's going on there. But the Lord sent a storm out there, man. Start shaking the boat up. Next thing you gotta put this stuff into mind. You gotta picture this story. They probably slipping, falling. Brothers trying to hold on to the rails. This water, coming all up in the boat. So you can't keep a grip, and now he's sliding back and forth. All hell's breaking loose out there on that sea, man. Verse 5. Then the mariners were afraid, and cried every man unto his God, and cast forth the wares that were in the ship into the sea, to lighten it of them. But Jonah was gone down into the sides of the ship, and belay, and was fast asleep. I said, Jonah Jonah in the basement trying to be knocked out, trying to act like he don't know what's going on. And everybody else is praying to their pagan gods. They throwing their prayers, being like, man, God save us. But their prayers wasn't getting answered. They start throwing everything off the boat. They probably had big cases of water. Like how we got them 24 packs of water that you fill up in the cooler. It was like, man, he probably had them. They tossing them off the side. They trying to get all the weight out of there. Anything to try to keep them from drowning, man. Verse 6. So the shipmaster came to him and said unto him, what meanest thou, O sleeper? So he came down there shaking him. Like, hey, man, wake your ass up, man. You see what's going on, man? It's all hell's breaking loose, man. He said, arise, call upon thy God, if so be that God will think upon us that we perish not. So they was hoping that, hey, man, we need a savior. They knew that they pagan gods couldn't get them up out of there. But Jonah being an Israelite, they knew that his God would actually save them. Because we have the almighty creator, man. He said, and they said, every one to his fellow, come and let us cast lots, that we may know for whose cause this evil is upon us. So they cast lots, and the lot fell upon Jonah. Says, it's plain. So they already know, hey, man, this wicked thing that has come upon it. Well, not really wicked, but this great, marvelous work of a storm coming out here destroying the ship, man. This is for a reason. Everything happened for a reason. Like, why did this happen to us? out of nowhere. Them men probably was on that ship going back and forth all the time. You know, it's probably delivering, products or cargo or whatever, back and forth between lands, man. They probably ain't never ran into this thing, but the one time that Jonah hop on there, they're like, hey, man, we need you. I said, but Jonah, he didn't want to press toward that mark. So he had to deal with the consequences, man. Had to deal with the damn ship going down. So I'm going to go to Genesis. Grab another situation of a brother that didn't want to press toward the mark. This is Genesis chapter 4 and verse 2. So everybody probably familiar with the Cain and Abel story. Even in the world, a lot of people know about Cain and Abel. Even though they probably didn't go to church, they probably never read the Bible a day in their life. Everybody has heard the Cain and Abel story at one point, but these things are written for our learning. Genesis 4 and 2 say, and she bare his brother Abel. So this is Adam and Eve, they sons being Cain and Abel. And Abel was a keeper of the sheep, and Cain was a tiller of the ground. See, Cain, he was the one out there, maintaining the garden. Abel was the one that was taking care of all the flock, all the oxen. Verse 3, and in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof, and the Lord had respect unto Abel and his offerings. So the Lord respected Abel's offerings more, because he had the meat offering. Cain, he did what he was supposed to do. He was keeping the law. He brought his firstlings of the harvest. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to give our first of our harvest to the Lord. He did that, but the Lord just had more pleasure in this one. Don't mean that he didn't like what Cain had. He just, I like what Abel had. The same way that if you a project manager or something at work, and you give two people the same task, and they be like, hey, I need you to come up with a way to do this, and I need you to come up with a way to do this. One brother come, you'll be like, hey man, that one was cool, but hey, that one's the one. It's just one that's better than the other. Doesn't mean that it's wrong. But verse 5, but Cain, and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, thou shalt not be accepted. If thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be desire, and thou shalt rule over him. I said, man, and he told him, he said, why you getting pissed off? It's like, just because I had more favor in his offering, that you getting pissed off. I didn't say I was gonna kill you. I didn't say your offering was weak. He said, but if you're gonna let that wrath build up in you, man. He said, you're gonna end up going off. Sin is gonna be lying at the door. And that's how Satan is now. That's why everything try to get you out the spirit. If you battling patience, is everything gonna come around to try to make you feel like you're battling against time, battling against everybody else. Feel like you're in competition with everything. It's gonna make you just go mad. But instead of being focused on the Lord, just doing what you got to do, just maintaining, pressing toward the mark, and enduring. So then sin gonna lie at the door. Saying what happened when sin lied at the door for Abel. Verse 8, and Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel and his brother and slew him. So while they out in the field, you got, man, Cain probably had just acres and acres of land, man. They was probably out there, in the middle of doing whatever. And he probably looked around, same way the Moses had to slew that Egyptian, man. He probably looked around, was like, hey, ain't nobody out here and took his brother out, man. And then, and the Lord seen that. Verse 9, and the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And then that's our people. That is Jake right there. He washed his hands. Said, man, what, am I my brother's keeper, man? He's probably scoffing against the Lord. That's all. Because he didn't press toward the mark. He didn't want to endure the race. He couldn't just, deal with what was going on and just keep going. He had to feel like he had to get vengeance. Said, and man, Satan, he go after everybody. Satan is not a respecter of persons, man. He don't look at you and be like, oh, that brother mighty, I got to stay away from him. Hey, when we go into that account all the time in Job, that didn't the Most High tell Satan? He said, "Hey, you consider my servant Job." He's like, "Hey, man, that brother, he ain't gonna go off like that, man. But Satan gonna go after everybody. And Christ was perfect. He went after Satan went after Christ. And let's see how Christ handled that situation. Go to Matthew, start from the top. Matthew 4:1. It said, then was Yahushua led up of the spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. It said to be tempted. Said we all know that when they uses the term the tempter, we all know it's talking about spiritual demon Satan, because Satan can hop on anybody. You ain't gotta be outside of the truth. You ain't gotta be wicked to be tempted of Satan, man. Anybody can be tempted by Satan. And he said, and when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be bread. Messing with him, man. Being like, hey, you the Son of Man. Why don't you go ahead and just handle this situation then? But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahweh. So he had to talk that talk with him, man. Like, hey, this bread ain't going to do me no good, man. I said, but jumping down, because I'm going to jump down a couple verses, because he said that this is when he had just got off of a fast, a mighty fast of 40 days and 40 nights. He said in go down to 8. Again, the devil taketh him into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them, and said unto him, all these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then saith Yahushua unto him, get thee hence, Satan. For it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him alone, him only shalt thou serve. And the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. It says, so angels end up ministering unto him, man, because he told Satan, get thee behind him. Christ had to press toward the mark, man. He wasn't worried about Satan talking about something. Hey, I can give you everything that you see in front of you. And Christ is like, man, what is this stuff, man? It don't matter. Nothing here physically that you can take to the kingdom, man. Yahushua knew that if he endured until the end, that he had dominion over everything. So what's the point of just giving in and just getting the mountaintops, getting, all the riches and the glory and fame of the world? All this stuff is going to pass away. I'm going to bring one more and I'm going to close out. Got Mark 14 and verse 38, because this is the whole conclusion of the matter. It said, watch ye and pray, lest ye enter into temptation. The spirit truly is ready, but the flesh is weak. And again, he went away and prayed and spake the same words. So you got to watch and you got to pray, man, because the spirit is willing, man, but the flesh is weak. So that's why Paul said that it's not him that wants to sin, it's that wants to go off. It's the sin that dwelleth in him. It's Satan that's always over his shoulder trying to get him to go off. He doesn't want to do these things, man. So you got to be like our forefathers. You got to want to press toward the mark, want to keep going, want to endure, man. And you can only do that through praying. You can only do that through watching. You can only do that through practicing, keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, and keeping the faith in Hamashiach Yahushua. But with that, I hope that y'all was edified, giving all praises, glory, and honor to the Most High God Yahweh, Ba'Shem Hamashiach Kwamalak Yahushua. And with that, Shalom.